Bop, bop. Let's go. Geeks are in the building. We're running through picks and predictions. Every single one on the main card. UFC 281, T-Mobile Arena, Adesanya, PEREIRA, Sparza, Wei. Let's get after it. First fight on the main card to open us up. We got CKB's finest, almost, Dan Hooker, 21, 12-0, coming out against the Peruvian prospect, Claudio Puelles, 12-2. This one's going to be a good scrap. This is a good fight for Dan Hooker, seeming that he only fights killers. Claudio Puelles, this is going to be a test for him more than Hooker. Hooker's seen it all. So Puelles, the story of this fight is, can Puelles get this to the ground? And after the tape studies and review, New York's saying no. New York is saying Claudio Puelles' takedowns are not very good. And after watching a couple of minutes with Clay Guida and a couple of minutes with the Grootsmacher, this guy's going to need to drastically improve his wrestling if he thinks he's going to land Dan Hooker to the mat. It's a different kind of wrestling than Islam. He's not just going to get thrown around. We all see Islam now. We got to stop bringing that into Dan Hooker conversations. Claudio Puelles, he is improving drastically fight to fight, which is what is the red flag for me, because I do feel like he can make big improvements at this age. He's a young guy at a good gym, but Dan Hooker keeps it standing. I think he can find a finish in this fight. I think he's going to outclass him on the feet. I think that's going to be the story of the tape, is Claudio can't get it where he wants. So I'm riding Dan Hooker, minus 145. Goosey, what do you got?
I'm right there with you. I'm picking Dan Hooker in this one. When I was watching his fights, the thing that surprised me was his ability to wrestle. He does have a pretty good concept on the ground. He is able to get back up to his feet. And in this one, for me, Claudio Puelles' main path to victory is going to be by submission, specifically a knee bar like he's been getting, because I don't see him being able to lock up a choker or armbar. And I think that Hooker just has the experience. He's been in that elite tier of lightweights, and I think Claudio Puelles is trying to make his way into that tier. And he hasn't shown me enough. I think that Hooker's going to go out and be able to look good in this one. I think Puelles will run himself into a few knees. Like you said, he doesn't have the best takedowns. He shows them. And I think Hooker will be able to capitalize. He's very good in the clinch. And I think Hooker's knees will be the story of this fight. So give me Hooker in this spot.
Dan, what do you got?
I think the Hangman's back. I'm with you guys. I think it's a good introductory fight back into 155 for Dan Hooker. I believe Puelles, he's not really active on the feet. Got about 2 strikes per minute, with Dan Hooker's up there near 5. And then he's got a really low takedown accuracy. Dan Hooker's pretty good at stuffing takedowns, and like Goose said, he's got deadly knees, elbows. He's good in the clinch. I feel like this will just be a really good fight for Hooker to get his feet back under him, get a win, get back in the win column. I don't think it's going to be on the ground very long, because Hooker does show good stand-up game if he's down, not say on his back or in scramble positions. And I just think Hooker's just going to be the more experienced, more dangerous fighter in there. So give me Dan Hooker.
Let's go. What do you got, Fishman?
So Claudio is on a 5-win streak. Hooker hasn't been doing so well recently, but it's going to be a sweep, because Hooker is going to get the job done, because I believe if Claudio's going to be lost on the feet compared to Dan Hooker, and that Hooker, like everything you guys said, all he has to do is really stuff a couple takedowns, and Puelles is going to be in for a rough night. And but yeah, let's get Hooker back in the win column.
Let's go. Let's do it. We're moving into the next boot. We got a bantamweight scrap. Maybe the last time we see the legend, Frankie Edgar, 24-10-1, coming out against Chris Gutierrez, 18-3-2. This fight's going to be crazy, man. I think Frankie Edgar's got enough left in the tank. Stylistically, I feel like Frankie Edgar is just matches up good with Chris Gutierrez, to the point where I think he can get takedowns. I mean, it's pretty simple. I mean, how does he win fights? He wrestles. Gutierrez, yes, crazy. He's on a crazy win streak right now. Besides a draw, he's on like a 6-fight win streak in the UFC. Pretty outrageous. But I think Frankie Edgar styles make matchups. So I think the wrestling is going to hold true. I mean, you see the last couple fights. I mean, Chito Vera, he was winning those 2 rounds. I think this is pretty similar to that, but I don't think Chris Gutierrez is Chito Vera. So I think Frankie Edgar holds through for 15 minutes and sails off into the sunset. You get a good underdog price here. Frankie Edgar always fights for your money, so you don't have to worry about this guy getting folded up or nothing like that. If he's going down because he's got fucking murked. So I don't know. I'm not sure if Chris Gutierrez is gonna have the ammunition for that kind of blow in this bout. So give me Frankie Edgar to dog it out. What do you got, Fish?
Yeah, so this one is, to me, it's almost a toss-up. I love Frankie Edgar, fucking OG, but Gutierrez does have some hands on him. So I mean, this fight also I think we could be in for a banger of a fight with this one. But in my eyes, if Gutierrez can just stand it up, I think he has a pretty good shot. Edgar, if he gets him on the ground, he has a good shot. But I'm gonna ride with Gutierrez on this one. I hate to be that dude, but I'm gonna ride with Gutierrez.
Facts, Dano. What do you got?
I'm right there with Fish. I'd love to see Frankie pull this one off, but I feel like Gutierrez, he's got pretty good takedown defense. And what scares me about Gutierrez is he's got really good leg kicks. So an older guy with a lot of miles on him, I feel like if he just whips 2, 3, 4, 5 leg kicks in there, especially in the first round, it's really going to change the dynamic of the fight. Stuff a couple takedowns, you leave a 41-year-old on his feet with a guy who is 31. He's 18-3, good record, 31 years old, prime of his fighting career. I mean, I know he doesn't have the most pop, but he's up there around 5 strikes per minute. It's going to be a tough spot for Frankie Edgar. I think the age is going to catch up to him, and ultimately Gutierrez will just be I could just pointing his way to a decision.
Yes, very, very good argument for Frankie Edgar's last 2 knockouts having a massive impact on his next performance. Very valid argument. Goosey, what do you got?
I wasn't sure who I was going to pick for this one. And then I found the answer. Frankie Edgar. That's going to be my pick. I think, like a sketchy massage parlor, this guy's getting a happy ending. Frankie Edgar, I think the style, like you said, is there. He's able to use his stance switching to stifle leg kicks, and that's Gutierrez's main weapon. I don't think he's really going to have an answer in the wrestling department. He might be able to stuff some takedowns, but boxing for boxing in this one, I'm going to give Frankie the edge. And Gutierrez doesn't have the power in his hands that I think he's going to need to put Frankie away, especially in his retirement fight in front of the fans. He's had time off, and I think he gives it one last go. So Frankie's going to be my pick.
Let's go. All right, we're moving into the next boot. Debatably the biggest fight on the card. Not really, but it's a big one. We got DP, Dustin Poirier, 28-7, coming out against Michael Chandler, 23-7. Oh boy, this is the grudge match we've all been waiting for. And these guys are going to throw the fuck down. I mean, first round's going to be fireworks. Hopefully Chandler doesn't come out and wrestle, but looks like he did a little bit of that in his last fight, so I don't leave it out of the cards. I think that this is going to be easily the fight of the night. Well, shit, actually, I mean, the main event's so crazy too. But I mean, this is just fireworks. I think that, Dustin Poirier is going to be the more elusive guy in the octagon. And especially since watching Poirier and Gaethje go at it and kind of how that all went, I think that if Gaethje can kind of do that to Chandler, I think that Dustin's on just a little bit higher level than that. And he's just going to need to dodge a sketchy first round where Chandler comes out with some nukes in his hands. But I think DP is going to be able to just build as this fight goes on, really start touching him up. And I think he's going to put him away, especially with that added animosity and the fact that this winner of this might get a title shot somehow. I think DP comes out with some steam. I think that he can get out of that first round and put Chandler away. But definitely scared dude, Chandler's got crazy pop in the first round, and all it takes is one. So, but I think DP's got a solid chin. So that's what I'm riding with. I'm going DP round 2 KO. Dano, what do you got?
Excuse me. I love this fight, first off, and I like Poirier in this one just because Chandler has been, he has been known to have a little chin issues here and there. We had the old boy El Kakui, Tony knocked him down in the first round, right? We can't forget that Tony did win that first round off him on the judges' scorecards. He got dropped by Gaethje, but that was all out war, so it's kind of you can't blame him too hard on that one. But Poirier's just got such elite level boxing. He's so smooth with it. I feel like you were saying, as long as this gets out of the first round, Poirier's chances just steadily go up and up and up. Third round, they keep going up. I don't think Chandler, right? He's not as elusive or silky as, say, like Michael Johnson, to where he could just slip and catch Poirier, knock him out. I feel like it's going to be a bomb. But I just don't think Poirier is going to be there. I think Poirier's got good head movement. He doesn't have the best like in and out footwork, but he's just got good head movement. He's always head bobbing, and it's tough for me to pick Chandler, but so I'm just gonna stick with Poirier. But this fight's gonna be a banger.
Facts. Fishman, what do you got?
Yeah, so on this one, you wanna slam the Chandler line. It looks good, but Poirier's a dog, and you see what he does in those dog fights. He can push himself through the distance. Chandler, I feel like all Dustin has to really look out for is that 2. And if he just stays out of the way of that 2, he's good. And so give me the diamond in this one. Also going to be a brawl. Yeah, those 3 fights that I mentioned, plus the main event, are just going to be scraps. Those 4 fights, I'm looking forward to them so much. But yeah, give me the diamond in this one. I think this matchup is good. It's gonna be a spectacle.
Goosey, break it down.
No sweep today, fellas. I'm going Mikey Chandler. And I was on Poirier. I felt like he was definitely going to get it done. But the more I look into this fight, the more I think that, one, this is probably the best fight left this year in terms of like guaranteed violence and just entertainment. And I think in a fight that close, Chandler has the power advantage and he has the grappling advantage, especially in the wrestling department. And I have seen him in training. He's been using a lot more of his wrestling, or at least there's been an emphasis on it for sure. And Poirier likes to roll out of punches. I think that overhand right from Chandler could find a home. He definitely will be prepared for it, Poirier, but sometimes in the heat of the fight, especially a Mike Chandler fight, you get away from your game plan a little bit. And if that happens for Poirier, he's got a lot of money now. I don't know if he's going to want to bite down on that mouthpiece as much as he used to. Chandler at a pretty decent dog price. Give me that.
Let's go. This one's going to be a scrap and a half. Another opinion I did have before I went on the Dustin Poirier side was thinking about it. DP comes out and talks about how McGregor stunned him in the last 2 fights in the beginning. So it's like, damn, if McGregor's stunning you like that, like, you better be ready for what's coming. Either way, we're going to the next boot. Female title fight, strawweight, Carla Esparza versus Zhang Weili. Carla's 19-6, Weili's 22-3. I think Weili gets a first round knockout. And if she doesn't get a first round knockout, it's going to be a Carla Esparza decision. Just because if she's not getting the knockout, it means that Carla's sitting on her face with her tush. So she'll probably do that for 25 minutes if she doesn't get knocked out. So that's what I'm going with. Zhang Weili round 1, hedging with Carla decision. What do you got, Dano?
Well, Carla's coming off one of the best women fights of all time in her last outing. She looked amazing in it. And with that being said, I'm going Zhang Weili round 1, maybe round 2. I think it's going to be an early night. I feel like Zhang Weili is going to be better than her in all categories. right? I thought the Joanna matchup was going to be a little bit better than it turned out to be, and she just spinning back fisted Joanna into the Shadow Realm. Don't really see Carla showing too much of a threat, especially on the feet. And if she goes for a takedown, I feel like Whaley's just gonna be too big, too strong. She'll stuff it. If she goes down, she'll get right back up. So early night, Zhang Weili gets the belt back.
Let's go, Goosey. What do you got?
Zhang Weili. The honest thing that really did it for me was her deadlifting Ngannou like that on a single leg, because if she can do that, she can probably stuff some takedowns from Carla, and I think it will be a complete mismatch on the feet. Carla's main path to victory is a wrestling heavy game plan that usually is dependent on her having that strength advantage, and then she's able to get inside, really get a hold. I think Weili's going to make it tough, and she is vicious. So, yeah, Weili gets the belt back. I think it's as simple as that.
Cool. What do you got, Fish?
Give me Wei Lee. This girl's a killer. I was gonna say she picked up Ngannou. I mean, that boy was sitting probably 300 pounds in that video. So I don't think as far as a takedown is gonna really play a huge effect on her. Give me Wei Lee knockout. Just Wei Lee knockout, not picking around.
Let's go. We're moving into the main event, the fight that everyone's been waiting for. We got Israel the Style Bender Adesanya coming out against Alex the Poitin Pereira. Holy shit. This is going to be such an absolute scrap. As everybody knows, if you haven't seen anything unless you're blind or don't have a television, Pereira knocked him out in their last time they fought, and has a decision win from the first time they fought. So this is kind of Izzy's vengeance fight. And dude, I think I'm gonna take Pereira in this one. It took me a lot of thought, and I was on the Izzy pretty much all the way until today when I had to like really put it all together, because you know the reach, the power, and the shots that I've seen Izzy take in his last couple fights, just it's not adding up for me, man. I think that if this turns into a war, I think that Izzy's gonna be on the wrong side of it. And I don't think there's gonna be any wrestling. This is a straight kickboxing match. There won't be any grappling or anything of that sort. Izzy's gonna want to prove a point, but I do think that Pereira is gonna be able to get into some clinch situations, check some kicks that a lot of guys aren't able to check with that high level kickboxing he has. And I think he's going to be able to land some devastating blows on Izzy. So as much as I like to say speed kills and Izzy is really good at dancing around, I think that Pereira is just going to be just as effective, when when Izzy's trying to pick at him. I think it's not going to work nearly as well as it does on all his other opponents, forcing him to force action. And that's how that goes, man. Pereira is going to find it. I'm going to say Alex Pereira round 3, KO. What do you got, Goosey?
Dude, I got that this might be like the most talent in like kickboxing talent in UFC history stepping in the octagon, because there's never been a fight before that two world champion kickboxers are getting in there and duking it out with the 4-ounce gloves. And I think it's gonna be crazy. I was breaking down the film. I initially thought Izzy because of the speed, but he does a lot of things that I don't like. Not for me to say that, but Pereira being like 6'4", Izzy has been fighting with that guard out, chin up to evade shots. I think if he does that, he's going to be right in range for Pereira. And then if he doesn't, he's switching his style up and he's sort of going off a different game plan. I think Pereira is just going to improve his game plan. Glover really is good at those inside hooks, and I think that's what it's going to take for Pereira to win this, because he definitely isn't going to be winning these rounds most likely, but he's one shot away at all times. And I think in a kickboxing match of these proportions, I think he does find the button. So I'm going to pick Alex Pereira here.
Let's go, Daniel. What do you got?
I got right? Everyone thinks this is going to be a knockout from Pereira because that's what he does. But I'm going to ride with Izzy. And I don't know if it's going to be by his classic unanimous decision because this fight feels like it's so big that it's got to be something different, right? Because Izzy's just been pointing his way, pointing his way, pointing his way to decision all these fights. I feel like he can't do that this fight. But at the same time, I feel like Izzy's so smart. He's been in MMA for a good bit longer than Pereira. He just knows how to win fights. And it's not, right? The point fighting, it's not because he's scared to engage or whatever, but he's just so smart and knows how to engage with his opponents that he just doesn't really get hit much and just coasts his way to decision. And he might not be coasting in this one because even he said himself in some interviews that he's going to rock Pereira. Pereira's going to rock him. He's going to go to some dark depths in this fight, but I feel like Izzy's just going to get it done. So everyone's got Pereira, but if you care what I think it's going to be
Tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you something.
We don't care.
the Adesanya decision.
Fair play. What do you got, Fish?
So I think one thing, I'm just going to start it off with one weapon that I don't think will come into play as much as his last fights is Izzy's leg kicks, because I think he goes to leg kick, I could just see his shin getting wrapped around Pereira's knee. Like, that dude, his nickname is Hard Hand, but I mean, this dude's got cinder blocks for knees too. I mean, I've seen him check kicks and people are limping away, runs up and just knees him in the fucking gut. Like, this dude's vicious. He's got every tool in his bag. And size, the size difference. I mean, you see the pictures with Dominic Reyes. That's ridiculous. He walks in there looking like a giant like that. That's a scary man to be facing for Izzy, the dude that's been knocked you out before. So my fighter of the week, Pereira, give me him. And I just trust him to make it a brawl in the middle. I think he's gonna do his thing. And I think one thing that could come into play is if he can trap Izzy and really, if he could clinch him up, because not a lot of people could get a hold of him, but if he could clinch him up and just let some knees rip into his body, that's something that Izzy has never really had to deal with before. But let's see it. I mean, this is going to be a banger.
100%. Alex Pereira with that already knockout win over Izzy. There's something to say. I'm no psychiatrist or whatever, psychologist, but dude, that's some serious confidence you're coming into the ring with, and that's going to be hard to overcome. So those are the picks. Those are the predictions. Get after us on all the social medias. UFC 281. Don't miss it. It's on Saturday, and it is going down, my boy. Hit a parlay further. Let us know.